This is the plank shoulder tap. This is one of my favorite core exercises of all time. It's fun and it gets you really, really strong in very functional situations. So all you're gonna need is a mat and the floor. So we're gonna start in a high plank position, which is up on the hands and toes. So my arms are gonna place down on the mat, hands right under the shoulders. And we're actually gonna start with quite a wide foot base, and you'll see why in a moment. So feet are nice and wide. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift up my left hand off the floor, reach up, tap my right shoulder, back down. Same thing on the other side. Right hand reaches up, taps the left shoulder, and back down. Okay, so I'm gonna keep doing this for the assigned reps or time. And your goal with this exercise is to keep your plank as stable as possible. So you can see my core is doing all the work it can to try to resist any movement in my hips. I'll show you what we don't want to see, which is giving in to that rotation as you touch. So this is an example of what we don't want. If I were to lift my left hand and rotate to make that task easier, to turn my hips or raise them up, that's what we don't want to see, okay? So core is doing all that work. Even right here, it's pretty challenging to resist any movement at all in my hips. It's quite hard when you do it right. To make this exercise harder, you can bring your feet closer together to each other. That'll create a narrower base, which is less stability. To make it easier, your feet go wider. So I always recommend starting with a really wide foot stance in order to make sure you have that solid plank. So don't add any difficulty until you can make it perfect without any movement in the hips at that current width. So your feet should start nice and wide. Be humble, don't go crazy. Make sure it looks perfect before you start to bring them in any narrower.